Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the EZA for Oceanus Shenron, Princess Oto, otherwise INT Oceanus Shenron, and basically get an idea of just how good she is after her recent Extreme Z Awakening. Now Oceanus Shenron is a pretty interesting unit. I think her EZA wasn't enough, to be honest with you. It's not that I think her being an SBR, ESBR centric unit is bad. I think that's fine. I think the issue is that they didn't do enough, because if you're going to make her tied exclusively to essentially ESBR and SBR, make her an absolute beast in that content. She's still pretty good though. Shadow Dragon Saga, 130% lead. Her super attack effect is raising attack and greatly raising defense 1 turn, whilst also sealing the enemy. She has key +3, attack and defense of 150%. She gets an additional attack and defense of 100% and launches an additional super attack when the enemy is in attack down or defense down. And she's got attacks effective against all types, great chance of stunning, and high chance of launching an additional super attack when the target enemy super attack is sealed. Because of the fact that I believe she's an ESBR SBR machine, I highly suggest you build her into additionals. It is better for her offensively for damage in situations where the enemy is in attack down, and in situations where they're not, she at least gets to greatly raise her defense. In terms of her links, Battlefield Diva, Metamorphosis, Cold Judgment, Shadow Dragon, Speedy Retribution, GT, and Shattering the Limit, and she's on GT bosses, Pepe Gals, and Shadow Dragon Saga. Her best team is probably GT, or Shadow Dragons I should say, just due to the fact that she can activate Cold Judgment and Shadow Dragons on that, and that is her best links. But you can run her on Pepe Gal, she's pretty good on there as well, because she has Battlefield Diva, Shattering the Limit, and Cold Judgment, which are also fairly common amongst that team. Now here's the thing, when the opposition is an attack down, defense down, she's pretty good. Her 190, 180k defense very quickly turns into 360k, with a greatly raising defense it essentially turns into over 400k, and with the second super attack it becomes over 500k, which is pretty good. Not only to mention, on top of all of that as well, she also has the ability to do some pretty decent damage. 4.7 million, 4.6 million, additional super attacks, attacks effective against all types, all fairly good. Now when the enemy cannot be sealed and not be in attack down or defense down, then the attack stats drop quite substantially. She becomes only a 2.2 million attack stat type of unit, which isn't that great. And then defensively, well, she stays around that 200k mark, which is not terrible, but also isn't necessarily a game changer. And that's why I feel like, for me, her EZA could have been a bit crazier. I think if you're going to tie units to certain conditions is more than fine. I just think in return you should make her pretty crazy. They're given her, for example, attack and defense of 200% when the enemy's in attack down and defense down. She'd be hitting around 6.77 million right now, and I think that would be a pretty good mark for her. Her defense would also be well over 700k. Maybe that's a bit too high. Could have been 200% attack, 100% defense. I think I would have been more than fine with that. Or alternatively, if you're going to sacrifice all of that, give her the ability to support. So give her some kind of support mechanism, GT bosses support, Shadow Dragon support, Pepe Gal support, or something to enable her to have some utility beyond her requirements to have attack down, defense down. That's just what I think. Doesn't mean she's bad at all. I think, like I said, in an ESBR, SBR situation, she's going to be pretty good. I just think there are natural limitations that apply to her as a unit. And so overall, I think in general, she is going to need a little bit of a helping hand when it comes to her performance. If you run her in content where you can't do attack down, defense down, she's going to be okay defensively after super, but that's about it. She's not going to blow anyone's mind, and that's just one of those things. In her best case scenario, she is the type of unit that can do up to 4 super attacks in a turn. So if the opposition is sealed and attack and defense down, she can do 4 super attacks, which is pretty good, or 4.7 million, all attacks effective against all types. Her defense at that point gets really quite high, but that's best case scenario. Overall, I would say she's alright. I just don't think she's breaking the bank. In terms of her links, Battlefield Diva you can prioritize, but I would prioritize Cold Judgment. It's just the best defensive link she has. And then on the Shadow Dragons team, just to get out the way, obviously GT and Shadow Dragons are really awesome. Of course, link leveling does boost her quite a bit, especially GT and Shadow Dragons. We're talking like 30% extra defense, which is pretty crazy, and like an extra 20% attack. So link leveling her does help. You can push her over the 5 million barrier, you can push her over the 250k defense with a bit of link leveling. It's not impossible to elevate her with link leveling. She can definitely be a lot better a unit. But with that being said, she's not necessarily someone you may want to invest time into. She's very limited to one game mode, unless they start to bring out bosses that can have attack lowering or defense lowering or sealing again, then she could be pretty good. There are some unique situations for her, and I don't think she's useless. I think she's great in a lot of content. I just think that they could have made her a little bit crazier, just a tiny bit. Just change her attack a buff on super to 200%, let her hit like 6.77 million quite regularly, and then it's quite good. But that's going to be it for me. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.